People with disabilities need much more support than others in the face of a pandemic. They may not be eating properly and may experience higher stress because they are unable to understand what is happening all around them. One such non-profit organization for the special children, whose goal is to impart holistic education that increases competence and independence to children with intellectual and related development disabilities, is here on across, and we have several people doing these activities to give mental strength to the children with special abilities. People with disability are a diverse group experiencing different hardships in accessing the information on prevention and risk of infection. People with visual impairment and blindness depend upon touch for most of their daily activities. They need to hold the hand of an escort to move around. They cannot read the message that the rest of the people can see, and they cannot even practice social distancing unless there are innovative approaches like keeping a safe distance using a white cane. And for the hearing impaired, especially those who are not literate, they cannot hear the message or read it. Since many depend on lip reading, they are compromised when the person giving a message is wearing a mask. Well, to give us more updates and how the condition of the special able children here in the city, we have Raghu, founder of Joy of Sharing NGO, to give us more updates. So we have Mr. Arjun. Let's take a call.
Hello.
Hello sir, so what is the current scenario in the state and how the children with special abilities are dealing with the lockdown? So what is your counter on it, and what can be done to give a betterment and better support to the people in this pandemic, sir?
Well, at the outset, I would like to appreciate the CVR News channel for the wonderful program they are initiating. This is the real felt need of the hour, and the school scan, as it is aptly titled, is an initiative, I believe, to look into the various types of analysis with regard to school education. And in the COVID times, it becomes quite pertinent because most of the parents, educationists, and sociologists are really concerned about how they have to start this particular academic year. So this being the question, the COVID pandemic has gripped all the departments altogether, and education being no exception needs a kind of revamp, restructure, wherein new modalities have to be introduced to carry forward the process of knowledge, because knowledge is a very sacred activity and it needs to be perennial. There should be no gap in the course of education. So the education department, both at the central government level and at the respective state government levels, are really working in tandem to sort out the issue, because the students are at a loss. Already we are into the first week of the July. So this is a very precious time which is ticking away. But
so that's the reason our government, the state and the central governments are trying to cope up the syllabus and complete the syllabus through online education. So
yeah,
how it can help the students, and what are the flaws about the same?
Yeah, definitely this is a nice question, because the online seems to be one of the modes through which the process of knowledge could be given to the student wherever he is placed. But the online system of education has got both its positive and negative dimensions. And let's start with the positive aspects of this particular type of learning. The online education, as the very name goes by, is given to the student at his own pace. So this is very convenient mode of learning, where the student is mostly with his parents, learning the lessons by the teachers conveniently in a graded form. And this sounds really nice, because there are so many restrictions post-lockdown also regarding the movement of the children, or even the reopening of the schools has not got any official convenience. So with the schools remaining shut, this seems to be the only alternative. And as we go by, the online education also carries forward the process to some extent, but there are so many glitches to it. The online education at the level of the primary, there are three different categories of students: the primary students, the upper primary or secondary and senior secondary. So here with respect to the primary school students, this is a major handicap because they are very tender in age, and at such a tender age, if they are exposed to such technological gadgets for quite a considerable period of time, that would really prove quite detrimental both to their cognitive faculties as well as to the organic development, because the lot of exposure to the very harmful electromagnetic rays at this age is really very harmful and dangerous to them. And this aspect is being considered by our educationists too. So some governments like in Karnataka have altogether abolished online classes for students up to 5th grade. That is, the primary grade students are not allowed to be given this particular form of education. Only the higher ups, those who are in the secondary, like 6th to 10th, are being given an opportunity to take such lessons from the online classes. So this is something which is going on, and the online education is really useful for the mature students, where they can really get some support from self-initiative, and whatever little they are lacking in could be compensated by this particular form of online coaching. So, as this will really prove quite useful to the research students, because their learning is all, it is mostly 90% is self-reliant. Then whatever little bits of information they get from the professors, that they can search through or get from the online. So this being the scenario, here it's really one thing has to be understood by the government, that ours is a developing country. So we cannot expect every parent to provide all the very costly gadgets, electronic things like a laptop system or even the Wi-Fi connection. Sometimes, apart from the economic aspect, in some rural areas, we find that the parents are not initiated into the process of learning at all. They are having least awareness regarding all these gadgets. And moreover, Wi-Fi facilities are not also available in such regions. So, government has to take into consideration all these factors and must provide a kind of education which is congenial, convenient, and at the same time not harmful to the students.
Now, sir, on the same line, like when we talk about students,
yes.
Here the online classes are, the duration of online classes are extremely high. Like the students are addicted to the screens, like on-screen time is around 8 hours every day. So in the same regards, like if the same online education continues, like as the lockdown is being extended, so the children have to face the screen for at least 8 hours every day in terms to learn subjects and in terms to attend the classes. So how this will impact the health of the children, and how disabled the children and especially able children can handle these online classes and the pressure of the online classes?
Yes, actually this problem is quite evident, and here we have to see from the two domains, like the specially challenged students as well as the normal students. This particular form of online education, as we have been rightly mentioning, if they are made to, if small children are made to fall under this type of education for 6 to 7 hours per day, that would really ruin their health. There is no doubt about it, because first of all there are many other things related apart from their exposure to the electromagnetic rays. First of all, they will have a kind of sedentary lifestyle. The student will not move from the screen. Already the children of the day are addicted to the electronic gadgets. So if classes are also imparted through electronic, then there will not be much of a movement on the part of the student. His eyes will get ruined. His or she will really have the problem of sight. Then, because of the sedentary nature, obesity also will be felt by most of the students. Sometimes overexposure might lead to cardiac problems also. So we are in such a very difficult situation. This is with respect to the children who can learn normally. But the case is quite different with respect to the specially challenged children because their senses are not under their control. So effort should be made by the teachers to make them sit before the system. A normal child would naturally prefer to sit before a system, but the specially guided children, they will not be knowing. So they have to be given a kind of impetus. They must be made to sit before the system. Then they must be made to understand that since there is some difference with respect to the academic year, they are made to get the education this form. So
Also,
such type
on
of
the same
understanding
line,
should
if
be
we talk
developed.
about the effort, so
Yes.
we are discussing about the effort of teachers so far. So now,
Yes.
what kind of effort parents can put into strengthen the mental strength of the students? Especially parents are the first place who has a primary responsibility to maintain and to fulfill the needs. So
Correct.
how parents should deal with the children in this lockdown, especially with the specially able children?
The role of the parents is always very great compared to the teachers or educationists or anyone else because here even among the parents also the mother forms the mother has the greatest responsibility because mother is the first teacher to any child. So the mother has to really take care. She must understand that there is some need to acclimatize the child to this particular form of learning. Especially in the case of the specially gifted children, they should be handled with great care, diligence and patience because they are not in a position to understand easily the
Correct.
happenings which are going on in this world. So they should be given a understanding very slowly that something is wrong with the present system and so some changes are need to be made and that particular change will be something like this. Then slowly they should be made to sit before the system and attend the class and understand also. Here the question of grasping is also very important because the normal child would understand, grasp or make an effort to follow the teacher very easily. But in the case of specially challenged children, it's a world apart. They are in their own world, so they have to be slowly brought into this particular modality. They must be connected to this form of online education. Then they must be given the impetus to learn more and more through this particular form of online classes. So
Well, sir,
the
on the
part
same
of
line,
parents is so much more.
yes, yes, sir. So on the same line, if we talk about person to person and the friendly contact between students and student, now the friendliness is gone. As
Yes,
students are confined to
absolutely.
stay at home, they are missing their friends and they are missing the least interaction with the new faces.
Yes.
So, in this kind of regards, what kind of motivation parents can give, like how they can allow students to talk to a new face, and how parents can also help children to talk to a new person, because they are confined to homes for around three long months in the past.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
how will this impact them?
Definitely, this is a very important aspect which is bothering everyone, the psychologists, the psychiatrists, the educationists, everyone, because children are already locked away into their homes for the past 3 months and much more is still ahead. We do not know when things will ease up, maybe in a couple of months or it might take little more time also. We do not know. So we should prepare the child. Every parent must prepare the child that this is a very precarious condition wherein they have to adapt to such form of living. And as you have rightly mentioned, they are missing their peers, their friends. They are not able to see new faces. This is a very serious thing because it will create a kind of psychological trauma within the child, which is very, very bad at this point of time because now all the cognitive, intellectual faculties are trying to open up. So if such a phenomenon is experienced by them, that would really, it will prove to be really detrimental to them. So to avoid, parents in their own space must create a different kind of scenario every day. Some change they have to create. and now through phones they can have some interaction. They can make the child interact with their friends. Because the primary purpose of sending a child to the school is to make the child experience the world in all its different varieties and verities. That is clearly being missed by the child this particular academic year. So to compensate for that, within the home, the parent has to create different kinds of illustrative effects, and slowly they have to talk to the children about the pandemic, which is really the real cause behind all these changes, and then they have to make them understand that this is for their own good. If once the child understands that this particular kind of locking up is for their own benefit, then slowly they will adapt to this particular form of living. So such changes have to be taken by the parents. They can have some kind of counseling with the teachers over phone or through interactive Zoom meetings. Effort by the parents.
Again in the same line with the responsibility of the parents again.
Yes.
So previously when day scholars, they used to visit schools and stay in the classrooms for 8 long hours, and which has an academic hours for at least 8 to 12 for every student. But now as they confined to homes, they couldn't give such a long hours for education. So what kind of suggestions you can provide for teachers and students to engage kids with the number of academic hours they can spend on studying?
Yes, in this particular form of situation, every teacher must focus on the quantity, not on the quantity, but on the quality of knowledge that is to be given to the student.
Absolutely.
So, yes, qualitative imparting of knowledge and quality of knowledge is more important now than the quantity of it. So, academic year, as it is getting trimmed, we are left with only very little time. So, only the essential conceptual part has to be imparted to the student slowly in a graded form and in a form which he or she can assimilate very easily and in a very joyful way. That is very important, because knowledge should never be forced upon any child. It should be made quite interesting so that the child will aspire for more and more. The teacher must create such kind of scenario. They must say that the world around us is quite fascinating, interesting. So many things, unexplored areas are there. If they go about telling the child like this, then child will wait for the class. When will my class begin? When will I learn different things? Like the world is also very vast with the different planets, and even on Earth also different flora and fauna are there. So many species are there. Then different continents are there with their own uniqueness. So if that type of education is carried on, every child will be really in a position to wait for the class to begin. Such type of interest should be kindled in each and every child. Then the education will become a great success with least effort.
Well, at the same time, sir, as students couldn't go schools, the concentration time on education of a student is very little. Because when it is in the classroom, they won't be having any other option but concentrating on the teacher what she is teaching about. But when it is at home, as they are having the online classes, the concentration is minimized to around 15 minutes for each session. So the students are able to concentrate only for the first 15 minutes of the class, and the rest they are losing it as they are into different activities in the computer in other tabs. So how can we drag such a concentration of students and children on this subject?
You are right, because the child today who is locked up in his own house is having a newfound freedom, because it is his own space where he has lot of freedom to exercise whatever he wants to do. Unlike in the classroom where they are under the attentive eyes of the teacher throughout the class, so they cannot escape from that. So they will behave properly, they will force all their attention towards the class which is going on. But as you have rightly said, here during the online course or online session, it will be stimulating only for few minutes. Later, slowly the child will drift to different activities. But the real expertise of the teacher comes here. The teacher has to divide the class cleverly into different segments. Even half an hour class has to be made into 3 segments of 10 minutes, where after 10 minutes some interactive session has to be made mandatory, where teacher directly speaks to the student.
That's a great option, sir. That's a very great option.
Yes, that middle part of the class should be made interactive. Then every child will be tempted to ask some questions or doubts, and whoever asks good questions or poses a good doubt should be appreciated by the teacher, encouraging students to take active interest. So that part of session will be made very, very interesting. When that middle part is taken care of by the teacher, naturally the other part will be very interesting. It will be listened with great concentration by the students. And the entire session becomes a success. Like
Well,
that,
thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your important suggestions on maintaining the classroom operations to drag attention from the children. Well, as India is home to nearly 150 million people with some degree of disability, nearly 25 to 30 million have a severe disability, and most of them live as part of their families and depend on career. Well, this adds to another 25 to 30 million careers. So we are looking at nearly 50 million people who need special support, which is not routinely forthcoming. Well, this is with me, Vasvi Kalero, today's school scan. Stay tuned to CVR English.